Sure. I used to watch wrestling back in the day, when it was still called wrestling, and wrestlers were just wrestlers, not called superstars. So it was a bit of nostalgia when I opened WWE SuperCard and saw that legends like Andre the Giant, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Big John Studd, Hulk Hogan, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat were on the roster. Of course, I have no idea who these other young'uns are, but I'm willing to take a chance to see if the new guys can keep up with the old. And although I admit I'm not a huge TCG fan by nature, I was hopeful that developers 2K have given WWE SuperCard a fresh take on card-based games, and that they definitely did. When you first begin the game, you'll start out with about a dozen wrestler cards, including one rare. I was lucky enough to pick up The Rock and a few uncommon cards that I felt I could work with. The type of cards you'll get range from common to legendary, with about 5 classes in between. Rare is the third lowest, but something good to start off with. Before you start your first match, you'll need to set up your deck by choosing 4 wrestlers and a diva, and the game allows you to sort the wrestlers by rating and card class, which makes picking which cards to select a breeze. There are also 4 factions, you'll notice, with 2 sets of complementary factions, blue and yellow. If you put 2 complementary fighters together to form a tag team, they'll get an attribute boost and a penalty if they are not. So although factions are only relevant for tag team encounters, it's a good idea to ensure your deck has at least one faction set, as the majority of matches will have a tag team fight in it. As with most TCG games, you can combine cards to upgrade existing ones. In the My Card screen, you'll notice wrestlers sort by combine to make this easier. You can also strengthen your better cards by combining a multitude of weaker cards of any type, wrestler, diva, or buffs, to make your main card a lot stronger. The buff cards increase your wrestler attributes and or reduce your opponents, often a critical advantage in a fight, so always ensure your strongest buff cards are in your deck. There are currently 2 types of matches in the game, Exhibition and King of the Ring. The former is simply a quick match, which is a best of 3 or best of 4 in case there's a tie, and boy is it quick. You start by choosing the opponent of the 4 listed. Each has a current 1-loss record listed as well, so you can pad your own record by beating up on the weaklings. So it's best to choose guys that have records like 23 and 58 instead of 121 and 2, which was one of the guys I faced early on. Not surprisingly, I got my butt kicked. Once the exhibition match starts, there are 3 types of fights: solo, tag team, and diva. For each, there will be up to 2 attributes to decide the winner. There's 4 available overall: power, toughness, speed, and charisma. It seems to be random the way that these are assigned, because you'd think guys like The Rock would be huge on charisma, while someone like The Big Show would be huge on power, but that isn't always the case. Once you choose what fighters you use for each fight, you'll basically select them based on the attributes that they possess that are best suited, and you will not get a chance to see who your opponent has until the match is about to start. So it's basically a guessing game, but if you pick your strongest wrestler for each attribute, you have a better than average chance of winning in most cases. Any buffs may be applied automatically before a fight starts, as well as bonuses and penalties handed out for factions. Of course, that applies to tag team fights only. So the strategy is quite simple. Choose what wrestler to use for each match, and pray your guys' important attributes beat your opponents. If you win the match, you're allowed to pick 2 cards from a collection of face-down cards, or just 1 if you lose. So after every match, win, lose, or draw, and I don't think there actually is draws, now I think about it, but in any case, you're going to get 2 cards or 1, so you're getting something every single time. Of course, the only question is, are you going to get anything worthwhile? Considering you don't burn up any stamina between matches, meaning you can play for as long as you want without any cooldowns, your cards will add up very quickly, and before long you'll be wondering what to do with them. You'll be combining just for the sake of combining, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like any other game, you want to have a little bit of strategy in terms of which cards you use to combine with others. As for the King of the Ring tournament, well, that's another matter entirely. Here you select your lineup of 8 wrestlers and 2 divas who will alternate in hidden matches versus other tournament competitors. If you have boosts, you can apply them as well as assign 2 buffs that will be applied during matches. After each fight, wrestlers will lose some stamina, and you'll either have to use energy to get them back to full or replace them temporarily with your bench players. The big issue I have with the King of the Ring tournament is it goes on way too long. The first one I entered had a total of 45 matches with an hour waiting time between each. Now, considering how constantly replacing and powering up wrestlers before each match will give you a tactical advantage, you can imagine how tedious this can become. If you go to bed at night with the wrestlers all powered up, and you wake up and are completely exhausted and likely have lost a few matches because of this. Worse, you cannot upgrade or combine cards that are being used in the tournament. One tip I have, hold off on entering any tournaments until you get at least a full deck of rare or better cards that are upgraded. If you enter too early, you're going to have a weak team full of your best cards that you cannot upgrade, and you're going to be stuck with them until the tournament is over. Better to wait until you have a decent deck and upgraded cards a few levels. In any case, I really hope 2K takes a look at this and makes some changes. There must be a better way, i.e. a quicker way, to have a tournament, one that doesn't necessitate logging into the game once an hour for 2 straight days. And oh yes, since we're talking about TCG games, how easy to get good cards. Well, in the few hundred games I've played, I've picked up only one super rare card. That was Brock Lesnar, and yes, he's a beast. It sounds pretty good, but considering there are 7 classes of cards overall, the super rare was only the 4th highest. Let's just say I've got a bit of ways to go before I have a truly strong deck. So yes, getting premium cards without buying them is probably going to be a very long grind, but that's par for the course, isn't it? So overall, my impressions of the game, it's a great time killer. It's got lightning quick matches, there's no cooldown or energy bar to prevent you from playing hours on end, so it's easy to understand that it has appeal to new and veteran wrestling fans. And yes, as you'll notice by the video, it is optimized for phones, and so if you're playing on an iPad, it's going to be in portrait mode. There's no landscape available. Not a necessary deal breaker for me, but I really love landscape type playing on games, so if that's a big problem for you, who knows, maybe in the future they're going to make it iPad friendly or iPad optimized, but we can forgive that for now because this is overall a very solid game. It said that you can play dozens and dozens of matches in a row, super quick. You're going to build up a pretty strong team very quickly. I don't know how easy it's going to be over the long term to get the best cards, but since this is a game that's free and they're in it to make a profit, you can expect that there's going to be a push at some point for you to get the really ultra rare, epic, legendary type cards. And like a game of this nature, it's not a surprise that you can just buy them outright. So there definitely is very strong pay to win in this game, because if you go out and spend a few dollars and get one of the premium packs, you're going to start off right away with a bunch of elite level or legendary wrestlers, and that's obviously going to give you a huge advantage over the competition. But I should say at this point, and I don't know exactly how they do the matchmaking behind the scenes and mechanics involved, but I have not faced a single team that has anything above a super rare player. Now, I do think that when you actually go into picking the card selection after an exhibition game, you'll notice there's a bar, which was earlier in the video, you can't see it right now unfortunately, it starts off with I think uncommon, rare, and then super rare. And that bar really slowly fills up once you get to super rare. And I believe, quite possibly, that once you get to the next level, which is above super rare, you will actually start facing opponents who have better than super rare cards, for example, elite or legendary. I can't confirm that, but that's a possibility. Anyway, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video.